Hello my fellow weebs, my name is Bianca and this is my weeby YouTube channel. If you don't know this, I've been posting videos since about 2013, 2014, and then I took about a 4-year break while I went to college. But during like the past 4 years, all my older videos were privated because I was a little embarrassed. And honestly, can you blame me? I was like 16, 17 when I started my YouTube channel back in the day. But because I started posting again on YouTube, I decided to go back, watch some of my videos. While yes, they are still a little embarrassing for me, I also found them to be a little charming. A lot has changed since I started first posting videos back when I was like 17 years old. I definitely have matured a little. I like different things. I like new things. So with that being said, I thought it would be fun to kind of revisit my old top 10 favorite manga series from 2014. So 6 years ago. I'll link the video if you want to check it out, but here I'm just going to be like talking about each series I mentioned and, you know, my current thoughts on those series. Okay, so before I actually got into my top 10 favorite manga series, I actually had 2 honorable mentions, and they were Bloodlad and Bakuman. So since the filming of that video, Bloodlad has actually ended, and it's still in my collection as well as Bakuman. Now, I had them as honorable mentions, but if I'm being honest, I don't think I would put them as honorable mentions. Don't get me wrong, I really love both series. I still think Bloodlad is super funny and it's such a guilty pleasure read. It doesn't take itself too seriously at all and it's fun. It just really is fun. Bakuman I still remember really enjoying, but the thing is I haven't reread it since 2014. I haven't given it a reread at all. I think I haven't for a couple reasons. One, like I mentioned in my video, it's very dialogue heavy. There is so much dialogue, so much story. And while it's a good time when you're reading, it makes me a little hesitant to reread because I know it's going to take a lot of time. If I'm being honest, there are so many other series that I really want to get to, that I want to read for the first time. So I just don't really want to spend the time rereading a series that I've already read before and that I know is going to take me a while to reread. Now, I'm not saying I'm opposed to rereading series. There are a few series in my collection that I've reread numerous times, but they're not Bakuman. Bakuman just seems a little intimidating for me right now, which is really dumb because I know if I reread it, I'm just gonna love it again. Though I know that even if I do reread it, I don't think it would be in a top 10 list. Oh, and something a little funny, maybe. In my old video when I'm talking about Bakuman, I mentioned how I had read that series and not Death Note yet. Here I am 6 years later and I still haven't read Death Note. But one thing that has changed since the recording of that video is that I actually have the box set. I got it last year, but I still haven't read it. Okay, so now officially kicking off my top 10. At number 10, I had Naruto. I like how when I'm talking about Naruto in my 2014 video, I'm kind of trying to justify putting it in a top 10. So at the time, Naruto had just ended, like I mentioned. I think, if I'm being honest, while I do love Naruto, I think I only included it in my top 10 series because it was a series that I had completed and it was a series that meant so much to me. It was a series that really pushed me to start collecting manga and to start watching more anime. It made me cry so many times. And while I didn't start Naruto until a little later in life, I was a part of the journey. Like, I was there when Naruto ended. I had caught up to Naruto and I was reading the chapters weekly, and honestly, it was like the highlight of my week, if I'm being honest. I was always super excited for a new Naruto chapter, and during the time we just had like the war arc. Like, I remember being so excited for these epic moments, and one moment I especially remember was when we finally got the Toby reveal. And I had been one of those people who was saying for months, maybe years, that hey, Obito is Toby and I can't wait for it to finally get revealed. And then when it was revealed, it was amazing. So while all these feelings kind of still remain, I've read other series that I really enjoy more than Naruto. So I don't think Naruto would be in my top 10 favorite manga series right now, but I might slip it in as an honorable mention because, again, I just love it. So at number 9, I had the 7 Deadly Sins, and I'm just gonna say it, I would not have it in my top 10 list today. I don't own any of the 7 Deadly Sins manga anymore, except I do own the 2-volume series about Bon and Elaine. I got rid of my 7 Deadly Sins manga. I stopped reading it. I didn't watch the anime past season 1. I think it's funny how drastically my opinion has changed on this series, because I think in 2014 it was really popular, and because of its popularity I checked it out. I bought, I don't know how many volumes I had, maybe 3 or 4. One thing I mentioned in the 2014 video is that I really liked 7 Deadly Sins, but Meliodas was very perverted. You know, it was something that bothered me, but something I could look past because he was so badass, and he is extremely badass and extremely powerful. But as I continued reading, I just grew to dislike Meliodas and Elizabeth. And as the story progressed, Meliodas and Elizabeth became more central, more important to the plot. And while a part of me just wanted to keep reading for Bon and Diane and King, you know, my actual favorite characters, I just couldn't. My dislike for Meliodas and Elizabeth had grown. I didn't care for Meliodas and Elizabeth. I didn't like them. I didn't like their characters. I didn't like their story. And honestly, it just goes back to Meliodas just having one distinguishable character trait, and that is that he is a perv. And that just got old really quickly. And Elizabeth's like nonchalant attitude towards Meliodas and just him groping her all the damn time, and I mean all the damn time, it got annoying and I was just over it and I didn't care, which makes me sad because, again, there are so many other great characters aside from Meliodas and Elizabeth. Like I mentioned, Bon, and then King and Diane, Gil Thunder. I really liked all of these characters, and I really wanted to continue reading just for them. As of right now, 7 Deadly Sins, the manga is over, and I did read the final chapter, and if I'm being honest, I only read the final chapter because I wanted to see if my characters had made it. Yeah, 7 Deadly Sins just didn't end up working out for me, and I'm kind of glad because I know what happened to the anime later on, and yikes. Okay, so at number 8, I had Attack on Titan, which I actually stopped reading it a couple years ago. See, I stopped reading Attack on Titan, I think, probably during the events of season 3, but I never made it to season 3 because I stopped in the middle of season 2 because I just wasn't feeling season 2. During that time, Attack on Titan had shifted from focusing on Titans to like the humans, all their shady stuff. I think I mentioned in the video that I was enjoying that at the beginning. Then eventually I kind of got bored and I dropped it. You can't see where Attack on Titan is on my shelves, but I only have up to volume 14, and I think volume 30 might have just been released, so I'm really behind on collecting. I'm really behind on the anime and the manga, but because I've heard such great things about Attack on Titan, and because the final season is being so hyped up, I'm actually gonna catch up to Attack on Titan again. If I were to make a top 10 favorite manga list right now, Attack on Titan wouldn't be on it, but I think that if I were to catch up to Attack on Titan, it might be in my top 10 because of all the amazing things I'm hearing. So that's where I am currently with Attack on Titan. It's funny because a lot of the series in my 2014 video were new to me. You know, another one of those is my number 7 pick, which is Vinland Saga. And spoiler alert, if I were to make a top 10 favorite manga list right now, Vinland Saga would definitely be on it, and it would probably be up higher than number 7 because I love this series. I think a lot of my opinions and thoughts on Vinland Saga have not changed. If anything, I've just grown more in love with the series. One thing that has changed since 2014 is that we've got an anime adaptation of Vinland Saga. It was amazing and I loved it, and I'm pretty sure season 2 has already been greenlit. If you haven't checked out Vinland Saga, I'm here to tell you again, 6 years later, that it is definitely worth checking out. It's such a beautifully written story about revenge and redemption, and it has beautiful art. The emotional journeys that some of these characters have to go through, especially Thorfinn. Wow. Go read Vinland Saga, go buy the volumes, go watch the anime. It is incredible. You're gonna love it. And once you do, we can talk about it because I have no one to talk to about Vinland Saga, and I'd really like to talk to someone about Vinland Saga because it's amazing. Now moving on to number 6 on my list, I put Fullmetal Alchemist. I think it is a beautifully crafted story. I think it has one of the best endings. I think all the storylines are interwoven beautifully. It has some of the best writing, some of the best characters. Fullmetal Alchemist is a series that you read and you love all the characters. The main characters and the minor characters, the side characters, you love them all. The characters in Fullmetal Alchemist aren't just black and white, they're gray. And I just think that's so interesting to see and to read about. I still really love the series, and it would probably be in my top 10 favorite manga series today. Okay, so now we're getting into the top 5. So at number 5, I had HunterXHunter. Now, I hope this is controversial, but I actually don't think I would put HunterXHunter in my top 10 favorites list today. Now, let me explain. So at the time, HunterXHunter, the anime, had just ended, and I loved that shit. I loved it. Like, if I'm being honest, I think at that time that was probably like my favorite anime I had ever watched. You know, and I had read the manga and I enjoyed it, but I always saw the manga and the anime as being like the same thing. And, you know, my love for the anime was so great and immense that I kind of projected that onto my feelings of the manga. I might not be making sense, but what I'm trying to say is that I wouldn't put the manga on my favorites list because I like the manga. I don't love it. I love the anime. And usually, you know, us weebs are always like, the manga's better, read the manga, it's amazing. But in this case, honestly, the HunterXHunter 2011 anime is just god tier. It's amazing. I would rewatch that over reading the manga. This was a favorite manga list, and for HunterXHunter, I love the anime, I like the manga. It doesn't belong in my top 10 favorite manga series list. It doesn't. Okay, next up, number 4, we have Tokyo Ghoul. Oh, Tokyo Ghoul. I'm not gonna deny that I loved Tokyo Ghoul in 2014. I binge read that, I loved it, but I can't say the same for the me now. I don't know, is that shocking? 6 years ago, this was my number 4, and now it wouldn't even be on my top 10 list. I think Tokyo Ghoul is just a weird case where I loved Tokyo Ghoul, but because Tokyo Ghoul re-exists, so when it comes to Tokyo Ghoul re, I read some of it, but I dropped it because I just wasn't enjoying it as much as Tokyo Ghoul. I think Tokyo Ghoul is much better than Tokyo Ghoul Re, and personally, I would have been fine with Tokyo Ghoul ending as it did. You know, the tragic, sad ending of Tokyo Ghoul, I think completely fit. In 2014, I loved the series, and I was excited for the physical copies to be released. But since then, I only have about 8 volumes of Tokyo Ghoul, and I think I've been hesitant to continue, and if I'm being honest, I've considered getting rid of my Tokyo Ghoul volumes because I'm a person that likes to have a complete set, a complete story. So if I were to have all of Tokyo Ghoul, I would feel compelled to have Tokyo Ghoul Re, which it makes no sense, especially because I own all of Naruto, but I'm never gonna have Boruto. I just don't see it as a continuation of Naruto's story at all. But back to Tokyo Ghoul. If I were to have all of Tokyo Ghoul, I would feel like the story is incomplete. I don't know what to do with my Tokyo Ghoul volumes. I don't know if I should even reread them, give the series another shot. I have no feelings towards Tokyo Ghoul. It's just there. It's taking up space, I feel like sometimes. But then other times I'm kind of like, maybe I should give it a reread. But then again, there are so many manga series that I really want to read, that I really want to get to. Tokyo Ghoul just isn't important enough to me right now. So yeah, basically Tokyo Ghoul would not be in my current favorite manga series list. Okay, we're in top 3 territories. So at number 3, I put Reborn. And you know what? Reborn would still be in my top 10. I don't know if it would be as high as it is. I think I need to give it a reread, but I love Reborn so much. I love this series. I own 3 different sets of the manga. It is not a perfect series by any means. I know that. Like the first arc, the daily life arc, very fillerish. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to get through that. I understand. But like once you get past it, it's amazing. I still stand by what I said. You know, the art is beautiful, the character development amazing. The fights, epic. Do I think it's slept on? Yes. Do I think you should go read it and watch it? Yes. I love it. To this day, I'm still waiting for the last few arcs to be animated. I'm gonna wait until the day I die. I know that. There are just some fights that I need to see animated because, oh, wow. And I'm also still waiting for the manga to be re-released in English because I have all the English volumes that were released. It's only 16 out of the 42. So I'd really like a complete set of Katekyo Hitman Reborn that I can actually read because I can't read the 2 Japanese sets that I have. I love the series so much that I would buy a 4th set of Katekyo Hitman Reborn. I would. No hesitation here. Okay, so at number 2, I had Sinbad no Boken, or The Adventure of Sinbad, which is the prequel spin-off series to Magi. Now, when it comes to The Adventures of Sinbad, while I absolutely love this series and the original series Magi, which we're going to talk about in a bit, but The Adventure of Sinbad has concluded since the 2014 video, and I haven't finished it. I haven't been able to find where to read the Adventure of Sinbad chapters anywhere online. Since 2014, the Sinbad manga kind of, from what I saw, it started moving at a faster pace. I think we were going at a good pace in the beginning, and then we were just going through Sinbad's story, and honestly, I feel like it just ended a little abruptly. I was really relying on the Adventure of Sinbad manga to expand the world building of Magi because, you know, with Sinbad, you know, he's been everywhere. So, you know, we were learning about different countries, different peoples, different types of magic. I really loved that aspect, and I really loved, you know, learning more about Sinbad because Sinbad, not one of my favorite characters in Magi because honestly I found him super shady and I could never trust him. The Adventure of Sinbad gives you a lot of context, gives you a lot of background on why Sinbad is the way he is. And it was doing amazing, but I feel like it just ended abruptly. I hope one day there is a release. If there is, I'll pick them up and I'll read them. And, you know, I plan to still collect all the Japanese volumes just to have them because I love the Magi world. Now, speaking of Magi, in 2014, Magi by Shinobu Otaka was my favorite manga series. And if I'm being honest with myself and with you guys, I don't know where Magi would lie on my current list. I think it would definitely be in the top because I love the series. Since 2014, it has ended. I own all the manga, as you can see up there, all 37 volumes. The art never disappointed, the story never disappointed me. But again, like The Adventure of Sinbad, I feel like Magi ended a little bit abruptly. The last arc was a little, I think, pretty rushed. And I think there was just so much more that we could have seen in the Magi world. There was so much more we could have learned about. So that kind of would make me really hesitant to place it in my number 1, but I love it. I love this series so much. So if you haven't checked it out, again, definitely do. The magic, the world is incredible, and like all the Jin equips are just gorgeous. They're just gorgeous. I really enjoyed filming this video, just looking back and kind of talking about my tastes in 2014 and just how they've changed. Like, some of them haven't changed at all. Like, again, I'm still a ride or die for Magi and Reborn and Fullmetal Alchemist, but for other series, it's just a little shocking to me that I put them in my favorites list because now they wouldn't be there at all. Talking to you, 7 Deadly Sins. Since 2014, I have read so much more manga. My manga collection has grown by a lot. I've fallen in love with so many series these past few years, like Fruits Basket, I Shield 21, Yona of the Dawn. I'm pretty sure if I were to make an updated top 10 favorite manga list, series like those would definitely be on it, and so would some of the series mentioned in my 2014 video. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you've changed your mind on any series over the past few years, definitely tell me about that down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye!